we're going to talk about some quick tips to make your mindfulness practice a routine. So, mindfulness practice, mindfulness training, mindset training, all kind of in the same thing, but a little bit different. So, mindfulness practice, right, is a time we want to actually schedule in time for ourselves to really focus on our thoughts. And I mean, really focus on our thoughts. So that, generally is seen as meditation, but I really want you to understand that could be a little bit different, because if you're a lot of times, a lot of the idea of sitting on a yoga mat, like, scares people, right? They're like, well, that's not right, but maybe you can't get to a place like that. That's not practical for your circumstances, whatever it is. So I don't want you to have that vision. I want you to think mindfulness is you being able to sit somewhere without, as best you can, distractions, so that you can have a conversation with yourself. That's what it is, right? So we have to kind of get rid of these ideas of what it has been put out there in the media, and so and socially, and how it's become like a kind of a trending thing, right? That's it's mindfulness practice is having a conversation with yourself and being aware of your thoughts and who you are, and then we practice it so that we can become. And the practice is with a goal really of getting to know ourselves and becoming the best version of ourselves. So it's scheduling that time for us to make our lives better. Don't you think you're worth that? I do. So how do we make it a routine? Sticking with it, right? Okay, it's easier said than done. So we want to stick to something. How are we going to do this, right? It's okay. We want to remember from the beginning that this is a new habit. It's a new habit. And, it's going to be a challenge at first, right? A lot of times we start something and the first couple days are great, and then, like anything else, just like a diet or or a new sport or a new job, like a lot of times there's a big learning curve. But if you don't see the value in it, and I mean the true value of how that's going to impact your life, you're not going to do it. And I would say, out of all things in life, it's the most important. The most. If you can't prioritize the conversations that you have with yourself and get a handle on who you are and understand your own inner demons, you don't have a clear understanding of who you are, how you react to situations, and you're not in control of your own emotions, your life, you're going to struggle. You will. Like, period. You have to understand that you go, oh, psychics, this, that, and the other thing, and predicting a future. I can predict your future by looking at your habits. It's simple. We create our futures by what we do every day. Our habits are what create our futures. That's how change happens. And it's inevitable. It's inevitable. So you're either doing something to move towards your goals every day, or you're doing something to move away from them. You don't have any goals, you're going to be moving in probably backwards, realistically. Life's going to happen to you. It's not going to happen for you. Don't you want to be in control of your own life? That's up to you. You're responsible for that. So I ask you, how much of a priority is it that you learn how to do mindfulness practice? Think about it. So it's okay to make it informal. I actually recommend you do. Why? Because life can be informal, right? Sometimes we have these big expectations, and this is how it has to be, and it's got to be perfect, and blah, blah, blah. And when that doesn't happen, then forget the whole thing. Well, guess what? That's probably going to happen more times than not. That like, life is like, you don't know, right? So if you can work within impractical circumstances, informal ones, you're going to have an easier time almost, right? So it doesn't have to be this big, long, drawn out thing. It could be that, if you like coffee or tea or whatever, and you're going to have your morning coffee, maybe instead of, doing it and picking up this right away, right, and getting on social media, put that down, right? Forget it. Sit and have your coffee. Enjoy your coffee. Find a quiet spot. Sit in a chair for 5 minutes. take in the morning. If you have to wake up 5 minutes earlier to do it when nobody is awake in your home, that could be a good option. Can't find 5 minutes in your day for yourself. So how you do it, fine, right? But that could be a good idea. 5 minutes, but it's something that you're okay. I'm gonna have my coffee. I'm not gonna be distracted. I'm gonna do my mindfulness practice at this time, right? Think outside the box on what's practical for your life. For your life, get comfortable. So when you start to practice, a lot of questions are going to happen, and it's going to be, it can be an uncomfortable experience. So you want to make sure you are comfortable. So if you're sitting having your coffee, well, try to find maybe your most comfortable chair, cushions, whatever else, right? You want to make yourself comfortable. So you want it to be something you look forward to, right? This is my time. This is my time, right? Forget you, husband or wife. Forget you, kids. Sometimes you have to. You have to. Why? Because if you fall apart, everything else falls apart. So you don't think that's a priority? Kids learn by example, not by what you say, but what you do, right? So if you're putting yourself as a priority and showing them, hey, I'm taking this time for me so I can be my best self, that's something they're going to learn to respect. That's something that they would carry forward for themselves. Wouldn't you want that for your kids? But if you tell them, you have to do this for yourself. You got to, my mindset training, and I want you to be the best version of yourself. And you tried to tell them that, but you're not showing that as an example. You think they would pick up those good habits? No. But that's so often how parents teach. So often. How people really do as I say, not as I do. Easy does it. So I said we're small baby steps and keeping it simple, right? This doesn't have to be said 5 minutes, 2 minutes if you're really, really struggling, right? But start with something. Start with something and start to have those conversations with yourself. Start to recognize, hey, you know what? I don't even know what I keep, trying to get into this mindset training stuff, and it's way over my head. I don't know what the heck's going on. I'm just aware I have to do something. Well, great, then you're ahead of most people. Said sometimes just that simple thought is enough to get you started to move to the right direction. That attitude of, you know what, there's something I need to learn. I believe every day has something. Every person has something to teach me. Every day has something to teach me. I am a student for life. I will always be a student. Always. Anyone who thinks that they know everything or they've kind of hit their max of learning, right, is a person I don't never want around me. That's 100%. Those are dangerous people. Dangerous people. Why? Because they have a very skewed beliefs. We were also call them narcissists, but that's a side note. Plan ahead, right? So okay, you try to make it a routine in your day that it becomes such a habit that it's like, this is so, this is something you look forward to. So planning that out at first, until it becomes a habit, is something you might have to really do so that it becomes a habit, right? So you visualize yourself. So I can see myself doing it at this time, and that's the most practical that I'm gonna stick with it. And embrace the experience, and don't. This is something you get to do. You really have to have that attitude toward everything. I get to do this. I'm so blessed in my life that I get to have time to reflect on who I am. I get to sit with myself. I get to learn who I am. You're stuck with you. I got news for you. You're stuck with you. So if you don't learn how to treat you right, how are you going to expect anything from anyone? How are you ever going to expect anyone to treat you right? I see it so many times. So many people are so angry and blaming everyone for so many things, and they can't take responsibility and recognize that it's nobody else's responsibility to make them happy. No one's. Your responsibility to make you happy. Even our brain's responsibility is only to help us survive. That's our brain. Our brain as humans is not programmed to make you happy. It doesn't care about your happiness. Did you know that? Your brain is programmed to keep you alive. It's your job to learn how to make yourself happy. So, let's make it a routine. Good tip is watching these videos and doing whatever they say, like trying to follow that. So that's a good way to start. Shameless plug. But, starting out that way, mindset training tips. Make it a routine. Let's go. I got faith in you.